And big breaking news now coming in on the India-China standoff. Indian Army has issued a statement. This is, remember, on yesterday night's face-off at the South Pangong. That's the big statement coming here on India Today, and I quote, "At no stage has the Indian Army transgressed across the line of control, actual control, or resorted to use of any aggressive means, including firing. It is the PLA, remember, the People's Liberation Army of China, that has been blatantly violating agreements and carrying out aggressive maneuvers while engagement at military, diplomatic and political level is in progress." In this instant case, on 7th of September 2020, it was the PLA troops attempting to close in with one of our forward positions along the line of actual control, and when dissuaded by own troops, PLA fired a few rounds in the air in an attempt to intimidate own troops. However, despite grave provocation, own troops exercising great restraint, behaving in a mature and responsible manner. Let's go across directly to Ladakh. Our defense editor Abhishek Bhalla with further details on this statement. That's a big statement that has come in, because since last night, Abhishek, there were a lot of conjectures being made. This making it clear that it is the PLA that was blatantly violating agreement and trying to intimidate Indian troops. What are you picking up?
Well, Pooja, one thing has been made very clear in the statement, that the Indian Army did not resort to any firing. In fact, it was the Chinese who opened fire in the air. And as far as the sequence of events is concerned, India Today had reported earlier that it was the Chinese troops who were closing in on one of the Indian positions. That's exactly what the statement officially put out now says. What I have gathered from various sources is that between 6 and 7 p.m. Last evening, there was a patrol party of the Chinese forces that made aggressive maneuvers towards the positions that were held by the Indian Army in trying to dislodge them. Now, these kind of attempts had been made earlier, but the Indian Army was able to preempt them and they were thwarted. Last evening, it was an extremely aggressive movement from the Chinese side, and once again they were resisted from the Indian side. And when the resistance was put up by the Indians, what I have learned also is that there was a minor skirmish, and that's when the Chinese opened fire. That's what the official statement says.
So, Abhishek, the situation worsened since the month of May. How big is it that even if there was, even if there were these shots that were fired, warning shots, so to say, to intimidate Indian troops, how big is this since perhaps 1975 or since even the Zangla? How big was this development?
Well, obviously it means a lot, because it clearly suggests now that the rules of engagement have changed from both the sides. India had made it very clear post Galwan that if need be, Indian troops will use firearms, and the commander on the ground, if he feels that his troops are under any kind of life-threatening provocation, then obviously to defend themselves they can use firearms. Because what happened in Galwan was that the Chinese used extremely barbaric medieval kinds of weapons to attack the Indian troops, and there was no use of the firearms that the Indian troops were carrying. Since then, rules of engagement have changed. We've seen gunshots being fired in the air, and with the kind of escalation that's happening, it seems that the situation is only going to get more tense from here onwards.
We must tell our viewers that from an earlier shoulder-to-shoulder, perhaps maximum skirmish that was allowed, it has now come to PLA troops firing in the air. Clear intimidation. I just want that breaking again to go. Remember, this is a very important statement that has come from the Indian Army. Take a look at the choice of words here in this statement, that it is the use of, that India has never resorted to any use of aggressive means, including firing. It is the PLA blatantly violating agreements, carrying out aggressive maneuvers, while engagement at military, diplomatic and political level are in progress. Remember, there are commander-level talks. There are defense ministers and counterparts in the China who have been meeting in the past few days. But PLA troops decided to attempt a close-in as well. What I see from this statement, Abhishek, is India's stance not being on the defensive this time, making it very clear that it was your troops who are trying to provoke us. We are managing restraint, but it may not last long.
Well, definitely, Pooja, and the kind of events and developments that have unfolded preceding this latest skirmish, if one can say so, last evening, it clearly indicates that there has been a lot of aggression from the Chinese side ever since the Indian army managed to hold on to some of the key positions on mountain tops. This is what has been irking China since the August 29, August 30 operation, and then a follow-up operation by the Indian Army on the 31st of August. It was very clear that the Indian Army was in positions from where it could dominate military positions of the Chinese army, and also the timing, Pooja, of yesterday's aggression by China. Yesterday was the funeral of one of the brave hearts of the Indian Army of the Tibetan origin. It received a huge gathering from the Tibetan community living in Ladakh. This is something that has been irritating China whenever it comes to Tibetans being part of the Indian Army, standing by what India believes in. There were chants of Bharat Mata Ki Jai yesterday by the Tibetans who've been living here for many years now. So the timing is extremely intriguing. The fact that all through yesterday, those visuals, those pictures went viral, perhaps all over the world. That's also very interesting that once that funeral ended late in the evening, we saw the Chinese being aggressive once again, trying to overtake an Indian-held position.
All right, Abhishek, stay on with me. Let's also go to Srinagar because Ashraf Wani is now live with us from Kashmir Valley. Ashraf, there have been skirmishes in the past, but with this statement coming in from the Indian Army, with the shots that were fired in the air during the night, clearly the situation is volatile on the border.
Absolutely, Pooja. Basically, what one more important thing here one should know is that the things had changed on the line of control since the Galwan incident in June. Basically, there is a lot of deployment by the Indian Army on the line of actual control. All those positions are being carried out by the Indian Army, which were almost vacant for the decades on the line of actual control. The Abhishek was mentioning about the mountain tops which are near the Trishul. The Trishul is the place where the border meeting point is situated, where the talks between the Chinese and India carry on for so many years. In fact, during the last 4 months, at least 5 times, the Lieutenant General level meetings took place in the Trishul at the border meeting point, and the place where yesterday's incident took place is not far away from that meeting point. These mountain tops had been captured by the Indian Army in the recent days after the incident of the last week of August, and now are the full-fledged posts of the Indian Army on these mountain tops, which are being completely backed, which we broke on the India Today and Aaj Tak, the news how the local population of the Trishul and other surrounding villages are neck to neck helping Indian Army to establish these army positions, these posts, and carrying their goods without any charge. And that is irritating the Chinese, because the Chinese movements are visible from these mountain tops. Each and every activity of Chinese is being seen from the Indian posts, and also the first time on the line of actual control, any kind of Chinese incursion is being strongly not only objected but even foiled by the Indian Army.
That's a very important point, because some of those troops and their movement of the Chinese are visible to the Indian Army. Therefore, they know they are vulnerable. They are getting aggressive as well. Let's take a look at this breaking news again. In this instant case, according to the Indian Army statement on 7th of September 2020, it was the PLA troops attempting to close in with one of our forward positions along the line of actual control. When they were dissuaded by our own troops, PLA troops fired a few rounds in the air in an attempt to intimidate own troops. However, despite grave provocation, our troops have exercised restraint, behaving in a mature and responsible manner, unquote. So this is the first time Indian Army officially putting out a statement and putting to rest all sorts of conjectures. Defense editor Abhishek Bhalla is in Leh right now in Ladakh. Abhishek, what should we see from this statement? Yes, restraint right now, mature, responsible manner for now. But this clearly means that if they have fired shots once in air, that has not happened in decades now, clearly the situation may just get more volatile and the forces will have to be on alert all the time.
Pooja, I can tell you the situation already is extremely volatile and, serious. Things have really been getting out of hand by the day. That's something that has been said on record by Indian Army Chief General Naravne when he visited forward areas recently along the line of actual control in Ladakh. He did say very clearly that things are tense, but the Indian Army is completely prepared for any kind of eventuality. And, this kind of countermeasures was something that the Indian Army was expecting from the Chinese ever since Indian Army has occupied those mountain tops. China has been slightly rattled, at least in the south bank of Pangong Lake, because these are heights that does put India in a little bit of an advantageous position when it comes to, monitoring Chinese activities.
Yes.
So these kind of countermeasures have been taken by China, something that Indian Army still expects in days to come. These might continue, they might well even increase, and that's the reason why the deployment of the Indian Army.
Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.